Welcome back to Books in 10. Today, we're diving into a story that never seems to grow old, Peter Pan, by J.M. Barrie. We'll unpack why it continues to capture hearts across generations, exploring its magic and maybe even uncovering some hidden depths along the way. And hey, don't forget, we're giving away an iPhone when we hit 10,000 subscribers, so make sure to like and subscribe. Now let's fly off to Neverland.
What's always fascinated me about Peter Pan is how it speaks to something universal within us. It's not just a children's story, it's a meditation on childhood itself. That yearning for freedom and a resistance to the inevitable march of time.
Right from the start, Barrie throws us into this whimsical world with Peter's dramatic entrance into the darling nursery. Imagine, the kids are asleep, the nightlight is casting shadows, and suddenly, there's this mischievous boy covered in fairy dust frantically searching for his lost shadow.
It's such a vivid scene, full of energy and a touch of chaos. And Barry cleverly weaves in those subtle details about Peter's speech and mannerisms, how he learned them from fairy ceremonies. It's like we're getting a glimpse into a world beyond our own, a world where magic is real.
And speaking of magic, we can't forget Tinker Bell, that tiny, fiery fairy who speaks a language only children can understand. She's the embodiment of pure, feeling mischievous one minute, jealous the next, and always prone to a fit of temper.
That's a crucial point about fairies. Remember, they can only hold one feeling at a time, which explains Tinkerbell's quick shifts in mood. And they have vulnerabilities, too. Their light literally goes out when they sleep. I always thought that was a fascinating detail.
It definitely adds another layer to them. And you know what always gets me? The scene where Wendy
Ever so practical.
sews Peter's shadow back on. It's like her motherly instincts kick in, even though Peter is completely clueless about human customs. Like kissing, for example.
Well, oh, that exchange about the kiss is priceless, remember. Peter offers her a thimble instead. It perfectly captures his naivete and how utterly detached he is from the adult world. It's almost like he exists in this permanent state of innocence.
It makes you wonder, does he choose this innocence? Or is it something he clings to out of fear? Remember, we're giving away an iPhone when we reach 10,000 subscribers, so like and subscribe. He ran away to Kensington Gardens to avoid growing up. This desire to stay young forever is at the very heart of his character, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's this yearning for eternal youth that drives him to Neverland and makes him the leader of the Lost Boys. They're all children who, like Peter, refuse to grow up. But their longing for a mother figure really adds a layer of complexity to the story.
It's that push and pull between freedom and belonging that I find so fascinating. The Lost Boys have all this freedom to play games, fight pirates, and live without rules.
Yeah.
Yet they still crave that sense of security and love that a mother provides.
And you know what's really interesting? This longing for a mother figure completely contrasts with Peter's own view of mothers. He's convinced they forget their children, a fear that stems from his own experience. It's a poignant detail that sheds light on his fear of commitment and his inability to form lasting bonds.
It's almost tragic, isn't it? He's this eternal boy, forever seeking adventure, but unable to truly connect with others. And speaking of adventure, how about that journey to Neverland? Imagine soaring through the night sky with the help of fairy dust, passing stars and dodging menacing clouds. Talk about a commitment to escapism.
It really is a fantastic image, isn't it? The journey itself becomes a metaphor for the power of imagination, that freedom of childhood to believe in the impossible. But there's an element of danger, too. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, reminding us that even in a world of make-believe, there are consequences.
It's like a reminder that we can't escape reality completely, even in Neverland. And once they arrive, it's this wild, vibrant world teeming with lost boys, pirates, the Pickaninny tribe, even wild beasts roaming around.
It's almost like a microcosm of society. With all its different factions and potential for conflict, you have the Lost Boys, representing innocence, the pirates led by Captain Hook, embodying the darker side of human nature, and then there's the Pickaninny tribe, led by Tiger Lily, who represents strength and resilience. It's a fascinating dynamic.
And don't forget those wild beasts. It all adds to this sense of constant danger and excitement, especially as we build up to the Night of Nights, when the pirates attack the Lost Boys' underground home. Speaking of which, don't forget we're giving away an iPhone when we reach 10,000 subscribers, so make sure to like and subscribe. But back to the story. What's fascinating about the Night of Nights is that it's more than just an action-packed scene. It's a pivotal moment, a turning point in the story that really sets the stage for everything that follows.
You're absolutely right. It's the culmination of all those simmering tensions on the island. And it forces the characters to confront their fears and make some life-altering choices. I think it's one of the most gripping parts of the book. And it's during this chaotic attack that Wendy gets accidentally shot by Toodles. It's a stark reminder that even in a place like Neverland, danger lurks around every corner. The Lost Boys try to care for her, building her a little house to recover, but their world is inherently unpredictable and perilous.
It's like Barrie showing us that childhood,
Oh,
while magical, is also a time of vulnerability.
yeah.
We often romanticize childhood as this carefree paradise, but there are also real challenges and dangers to navigate. It's a complex theme that he explores throughout the book.
Right, and it makes you question whether the Lost Boys could even thrive in Neverland without Wendy. Think about it. She brings a sense of order and domesticity to their chaotic world. She sews their clothes, tells them stories, tucks them into bed, those traditional motherly duties. And while they might resist at first, they come to depend on her care.
It's almost like they instinctively crave that motherly presence, even if they don't fully understand it. And it really highlights those contrasting views of motherhood in this story. Remember, we're giving away an iPhone when we reach 10,000 subscribers, so like and subscribe. On the one hand, you have the Lost Boys yearning for a mother, and on the other hand, you have Peter, who is deeply afraid of mothers, convinced they'll forget their children.
It's a fear that's rooted in his own experience, and it shapes his entire outlook on life. He clings to the idea of eternal childhood because he's terrified of the pain and abandonment he associates with growing up. It's heartbreaking.
Really, and it's
Yeah.
that fear, ultimately.
Oh.
That leads to the children's decision to return home. They realize that even Neverland can't shield them from the complexities of life and the passage of time. They start to miss their real families, their real lives.
It's a bittersweet realization, but it speaks to the inevitability of growing up. Even though they treasure their time in Neverland, they ultimately choose to embrace the reality of their lives and the love of their family. It's a powerful message about the importance of both adventure and belonging.
And when Wendy returns home, you really see how the experience has changed her. She's no longer that carefree little girl who flew off with Peter. She's matured, become more responsible, and she chooses to embrace adulthood, even though I'm sure a part of her still longs for Neverland.
It's a realistic depiction of how childhood experiences shape who we become as adults. Wendy carries the memories of Neverland with her, but she also recognizes that she can't stay there forever. She has to move on, grow up, and create a life for herself in the real world.
It's almost like she's taken the best of both worlds, the magic and imagination of Neverland and the love and stability of her family. But the story doesn't end there, does it? Years later, we meet Wendy's daughter, Jane, and she's captivated by the stories of Peter Pan, just like her mother was.
It's like this timeless cycle, isn't it? Each generation rediscovers the story of Peter Pan and finds its own meaning in it. And what's fascinating is how Barrie seems to suggest that the capacity for belief and imagination is essential for experiencing the magic of Neverland. It's not just about being young, it's about retaining that childlike sense of wonder and possibility. And remember, we're giving away an iPhone when we reach 10,000 subscribers, so like and subscribe.
Exactly. And I think that's something we can all strive for, regardless of our age, to keep a little bit of Neverland alive within ourselves, to never fully lose that sense of adventure and imagination. It's what makes life richer, don't you think?
Absolutely. And that's what makes Peter Pan so enduring. It reminds us that the power of belief can transport us to extraordinary places, even if they only exist in our hearts and minds.
And when Peter returns for Wendy, unable to grasp the passage of time and her transformation into a grown woman, it highlights the bittersweet nature of aging. He's forever frozen in this state of perpetual boyhood, while those around him are forced to confront the realities of growing older. It's both fascinating and a little sad.
It really is. It reminds us that time marches on, whether we want it to or not. And while Peter may be able to escape time in Neverland, the rest of us have to learn to live within its constraints. But that doesn't mean we have to lose our sense of wonder.
And what about that ending? Jane flying off with Peter, leaving Wendy behind to watch them disappear into the night sky. It's such a powerful image, both beautiful and melancholic.
It's an image that has stayed with me for years. It speaks to the cyclical nature of life, the passing of the torch from one generation to the next. And it suggests that the magic of Neverland will continue to enchant and inspire as long as there are children who believe.
It's a reminder that the stories we love as children stay with us, even as we grow older. They become part of who we are, shaping our perspectives and reminding us of the power of imagination.
Exactly. And Peter Pan is a story that's been interpreted and reinterpreted in so many ways over the years. Think about all the different adaptations, plays, movies, even ballets. Each one brings something new to the story, reflecting the changing values and anxieties of each generation.
Some versions focus more on the romantic aspect between Peter and Wendy, while others delve deeper into the darker, more psychological elements of the story. It's fascinating how a story can be so adaptable, so open to different readings.
And that's what makes it such a rich and enduring work. There's no one definitive interpretation of Peter Pan. It's a story that continues to evolve and resonate with audiences in new and unexpected ways. And speaking of evolving, don't forget, we're giving away an iPhone when we hit 10,000 subscribers, so make sure to like and subscribe and be part of our growing community.
It's amazing to see how a story written over a century ago can still spark these kinds of conversations and inspire new interpretations.
Yeah,
It's a testament to Barrie's skill as a storyteller.
absolutely. And it's what we aim to do here at Books in 10, to explore these timeless stories and uncover the layers of meaning that make them so compelling, to dive deep into the themes and characters that continue to captivate readers generations later.
So, for those of you who are just discovering Peter Pan, or revisiting it after years, we encourage you to think about what resonates with you most. What themes or characters stand out, and what does the story say to you about the nature of childhood, imagination, and the passage of time?
These are questions that are always worth pondering, because Peter Pan is more than just a children's story. It's a reflection on the human condition, on the joys and sorrows of growing up, and the enduring power of belief.
It's a reminder that even though we can't stay in Neverland forever, we can still carry a bit of that magic within us.
We hope this deep dive has given you a new appreciation for this timeless classic and sparked some interesting thoughts about the themes it explores.
And don't forget to like and subscribe for a chance to win that iPhone. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers, and we can't wait to celebrate with one of you.
Thanks for joining us on this journey to Neverland.